Gill, State of Corruption. I want you to work with me today. We're going to solve a puzzle, a crime mystery, how the deep state works, its methods, and not only that, who they are, by name, and that we set a trap. This trap was started 2 years ago, and we're going to step you through so you're going to know that's truth. With U.S. Attorney Lowen in Massachusetts, who was newly appointed at that time by President Trump. And you're also going to see later in this video where they auction off my home. They auction off my property my businesses were in. You'll also see that New Hampshire banking took my license. No business, no home, no property, no money. That's extortion, and that's the desperate need to have me be silenced, which is what was in the trap. That was the bait, and I'll show you how we caught them. Now, we videotaped these auctions, and the auction was run by the United States Attorney General's office. A guy who didn't want to give us his name. A guy named Brady. You're going to see him try to threaten my son for videotaping. They didn't want you to see this. This was never supposed to go out to the public. On this video, you're going to see that the only bidder was Dick Aganos of the drug cartel. Now I'm going to ask you, he won $274 million, right? You saw that judgment. Then why did he have to buy those properties? I thought he won those properties because those cases were corrupted. The FBI knows this. Isn't that right, FBI agent Mark Hassenbecker? And so does Attorney Lowen. The FBI informed me that it was corrupted, an inside job, and they had moles. So here's the problem that Aganos had. He doesn't trust Shaheen. He now knows that Shaheen used him as bait for me, as leverage. So in other words, if you don't take $50 million, maybe you'll take $50 million if you don't have to pay $274 million. You see? And you'll see a small clip from Message from the Cartel. I'll play you right now a few seconds. And you start a battle you haven't won yet, or the public announcement. So what he's saying is, look at this. Let's say Aganos is being set up to be the fall guy. I want you to hear that statement. Shaheen is setting Aganos up to be a fall guy. This is coming out of Aganos. But what you hear is Dick Aganos say, through his right-hand man, that he's afraid that Shaheen's setting him up to take over the operation and its assets. Does that sound like somebody that's innocent? And I remind you that Bill Shaheen is the head of this organization. Okay, now let's step through the trap together, all right? You'll see that I went to U.S. Attorney Lowen. What you'll see that I gave Lowen was indisputable evidence, including originals. A lot of people, when I gave them the original envelopes from the IRS, and were concerned that they would destroy them. I knew then it was the worm on the hook. There was evidence that they couldn't not have in their possession. But I am telling you, I videotaped me meeting U.S. Attorney Lowen with a witness. Made it very clear to him on camera not to have anything happen to those IRS communications, those envelopes that were never opened, that came from an accountant that never worked for me, a gentleman named Curtis Morley. Okay? Curtis Morley worked for the IRS to intercept my mail, and with Brian Toomey. Now, because they didn't want those communications, the IRS was covering up their own criminality. You see, that's the power of Bill Shaheen and his senator wife, Jean Shaheen, and the power of the deep state. We just exposed that, and Attorney Lullen has that evidence. It is indisputable. What you'll also see that we gave him at that time, and I well documented, and you'll hear a small clip that I'll play it for you, that the criminal division of the IRS, the agent I worked with for 4 years, his name was Tom Morley. Sound familiar? I thought so too. So I called Tom Morley after 4 years of working together and giving him evidence almost weekly. I asked him, do you know a Curtis Morley? And Tom Morley then turned around and told me I could never speak to you again. What? You're telling me this is the biggest investigation in the history of the IRS, and now you can't speak to me? Now this might just be an act of God, but he thought he hung up the phone, and he didn't. And many of you follow me know I've recorded that message, and I'll play that for you here.
I don't care. My concerns are the wrong thing. They're the wrong thing and so I said nothing, I did nothing but give them back. In one capacity told me like something like a memo email. Good times, Tim. This is gonna be your case. I'm gonna call him, Chris, and I'm gonna tell him like we have a plan, we have an undercover interview.
So you hear Morley turn around and talk to Tim Campus, a director at the highest level of TITCA, the criminal division of the IRS. I told him nothing, I gave him nothing. He went on loppingly to say that he has a plant in my office, and in fact he did. The key witness, Brian Toomey, who is my vice president, who also gave Shaheen and Walker in the cartel where I was going to be murdered in Miami. You can look at that on no room service. So what happened was that Toomey's now the contact with the IRS. We have emails with him communicating with the same Curtis Morley that I never even knew existed. We have cell phones. We have his computer that has him communicating with Walker, Shaheen, the New Hampshire Banking Department, the DRA, and most importantly, Assistant Attorney General Richard Head. Remember what I told you through this whole thing. The AG's office is the cover team within the state. If you have each state agency that's corrupted, you need protection. It's the Attorney General's office. You will see an Assistant Attorney General, Brady, who didn't want to give my son his name at the auction, who didn't post the auction information, and only told one person, the head of the cartel, Dick Aganos. And I'll explain that to you. And he also knew that my son just went out and got his license. Now, how did he know that from banking? It was a plan. And how did he know that I didn't have my license? That was also part of the plan and part of the extortion. You will see in the videotapes they weren't happy about my son videotaping them. Because, you ready for this, boys and girls? They were never going to let anybody know it happened. The drug cartel, Aganos, they know that the hearing and trial was corrupt. They own the Judge Delker and Tucker, who both came out of the AG's office, and so doesn't the FBI. So what you'll see is that message from the cartel, where he's being afraid. Aganos is. And listen, when you win $274 million, why are you afraid? But he clearly is, and you can watch the rest of the video message from the cartel. But you hear him saying he believes he's being set up by Shaheen to take over his whole operation, a drug operation. And you know what's crazy? He might have been. If Shaheen settled with me, one of the things they may do is throw Aganos to the wolves. So Aganos, who won 274, right? Why was he buying the properties? Didn't he own the properties? Are you getting it? Because of the investigation. Now, so Lullen has that information that verifies everything that I'm saying. He also, this was part 2 of the evidence that U.S. Attorney Lullen have to have. And that evidence was Morrison and Mahoney were my attorneys against all these individuals. The DRA, the banking department, the same people who auctioned my house and took my license. Bill Shaheen, who orchestrated this and protected the drug cartel. Alex Walker, right now, who's in the Supreme Court with his case. The Supreme Court are petrified to make a ruling. They know what I'm saying is true. Because now that we caught Morris Mahoney having the same insurer, Liberty Mutual, it was an inside insurance covered job from beginning to end because these defendants were criminals and it exposed the deep state and how do they do it. Let's take a look who was on the list. Bill Shaheen was on that settlement list. We're going to show you that settlement list. Many other names also. Law firms. But Alex Walker. And you ready? The Department of Revenue, the people who just took my home, the banking department and commission, the people who just took my license after 30 years of operating mortgage specialists. Now how do you turn around and offer me $50 million and offer, with nothing happened between now and then, instead seize those assets? You see, Aganos forced Shaheen's hand. He's saying, I'm not taking Gill stuff. This could get back to me. So you've got to do it. So the only extortion that they had was the only extortion they always had. Except for now Mullen, and here's the trap, has that information, has the settlement, has the confessions with the IRS. This gets you the corruption in the DRA. This gets you the banking department, which also gets you the corrupt's money and the drug laundering for the drug cartel, you see? And it gets you the most important. It gets you the Attorney General's office who was involved in these cover-up. You have Brian Toomey, who's a witness. You got Richard Head, who's a witness within the AG's office, who tried to change notes, manipulating the banking department. Use bogus consent orders to leverage me with the banking department. You know what I always knew? They could never move on any of those pieces. You know why? Because they knew I had this evidence, and that's why it was important to get it to Mullen. It was in sheer desperation that they make a move now, which is why they left themselves vulnerable. Vulnerable for the first time at this level. Which is why this information is going out to you. Step at a time, you see the evidence, so you know there's no explanation they have. And our new AG, William Barr, he has a copy of everything. How do you like that, boys? Everything. So now the FBI has a problem. They wanted to make this go away as bad as the drug cartel. As bad is this deep state organization that sells protection, which is why these judges like Delker and Tucker come out of the AG's office. And who are they protecting? A drug cartel. You get it? Exposed. So now, U.S. Attorney Mullen, you've got some thinking to do. Either you act now with these auctions that you now know is hard evidence, and you'll all get to see those auctions. You get to turn around and know if you don't move, the U.S. Attorney General of the United States is going to ask you, why? And do you think they'll accept the answer is, I was covering up? I was covering up not only for the deep state, I not only was covering up for the drug cartel, I was covering up for our FBI office in Concord, our FBI office in Bedford, U.S. Attorney Kakavas, who ran an operation to destroy Brian Toomey's computer by giving immunity to a Jonathan Irish who was already sentenced for selling automatic assault weapons. Right. Watch the post. Check him out. That's exactly what happened. They used Eileen Landy. The FBI knows this too. Why do you think, video after video, you see me going to the FBI office in Bedford and Concord? Either that door didn't open, or the evidence that I gave them was immediately sent back. They couldn't have it in their custody. They couldn't even destroy the computer in their custody. And that's why I showed you it was returned back. I was setting them up then, which is why I gave the originals to Lullen, because Lullen turns around and goes, listen, if he takes 100 million, he takes 200 million, he's liable to still go after us. And if he has those envelopes that are unopened from Curtis Morley, they'll know that the IRS was extorting him and working to cover this up. So that's why they got the originals. But it's also why I documented the way that I did. You see, we have them all. And what I'm telling you is going on in every state in this country. In Massachusetts, in the Massachusetts Banking Department, I've told them right along that they were laundering drug money. You know when they don't come forward and outraged? It's because they're doing the same thing themselves. You get it? What I've uncovered was a method from the AG's office to the corruption in departments within our states. How the AG's office and these judges, these lawyers have infiltrated our judicial systems and our courts. You see what's happening in family court? It is controlled. It is the other end of the deep state business. It's to steal federal money. Sell protection to the most corrupt and steal federal money. This proves it all. So again, I'm going to have you watch these videos. You're going to know that this is an operation run by the AG. They lied to my son about even videotaping. They lied to my son about posting. They threatened my son with his own license. And the only person who showed up with the drug cartel and his minions. And you'll see that. And now you know why that they had to sell it to the drug cartel. And they didn't use that ruling. Because they couldn't use the ruling, as I told you before. And he forced Shaheen to make a mistake. Look at the chessboard, people. I did. I started this game 2 years ago with setting the piece and getting that evidence to Lullen. You're going to see several posts in the background here. Step by step, you see where I went, and I cornered them. There's no mistake. We have them all. What they were going to do with me is come back and make a deal when I was at my absolute lowest. Want me to tell you something? No money, no home, no business, absolute lowest. That's when I'm the most dangerous. I love a good fight. What do you think I've been doing this 11 years? You think I'm a guy you screw with? You think it was okay to leverage my family and my children and threaten to murder them? Well, now it's our turn. And President Trump, I hope you're listening. Because if you are, this is the deep state. You get minimum of 2 high-ranking Democratic senators, Jeanne Shaheen and Hassan, who enforces this and pass laws like Medicaid expansion so that they turn around and the cartels own these treatment centers, and it becomes insurance fraud. There is nothing they don't have their dirty hands into, which is why this country is running at a deficit. And President Trump, you want to build a wall? I'll show you who has the money. I'll show you how they're laundering it, and I'll show you where it is. Let's use that money. Wouldn't that be the right thing to do? The tears of families of destruction from these people, from family court to drugs. Let's build that wall, and let it be symbolic of fighting corruption. Please watch this video. It's a little spotty, but you'll see them clearly. The only people that show up to buy my property, my business, my home, is the cartel. Mike Gill, State of Corruption.
Okay.
We just need your name.
Oh, my name is Michael Gill Jr.
Michael Gill Jr., okay?
I'm sorry, where was this posted again? Just so...
It was posted at the Town Hall in Plastow.
Okay.
And the post office in Plastow.
Okay.
What's the name of your new company, Michael?
None of your business.
Excuse me?
None of your business, sir.
Is it a public company?
It's none of your business. I'm not discussing anything
Is
with
it a
you.
New Hampshire company?
I'm not... I don't even know who you are. I'm not talking to you.
Well, you're talking to us.
I'm sitting here. I'm gonna record this. I'm gonna see this.
You seem like if
And,
you're
Video and audio recording me right now?
Yes, sir. I am. I'm sorry. I thought I said that clear. I said I'm gonna record this.
I don't think you can do that.
Well, this is
The wiretap law in the state of New Hampshire.
Yeah, the audio portion. No good.
I think
Sorry.
you need permission.
well, this
I don't
is
give you my permission either.
Neither do I.
well, where
It's not
this
a
is
public- it's not a public area, so.
this is a private area that we own. There's a private property that's owned by the mortgage specialists.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna carry out what the court order is. We're gonna carry out what the court order is. The gentleman have a bid. We're gonna give him the sign for a little while, then we're gonna leave. Okay?
All right, just so you know, Bill, they're
We're gonna
gonna come
make sure you get a
inside, so we have to
copy.
put away any
Right, is there anybody
related
here
documents.
doing the bidding? Anybody else? And your name, sir?
Dick Anagnost.
Spell your last name, please.
ANAGNOST.
All right, so we're gonna.
The only
open the
person who
bidding
knew
for the
about it
sheriff's
is Dick
sale of this
Aganos, the only one
property.
who's here to bid. Big surprise.
We have at the moment just the one bidder, and do you have any bid, sir?
Yes, I do. $250,000.
250,000 is your bid. Do we have any other bidders at the property?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain it's supposed to be posted, and we didn't see anything.
I did give you one.
Huh? They said you're supposed to post it 3 times in a local paper, and they posted it at the post office supposedly.
Gas station.
So, what a surprise! The only person to show up is fucking Dick Aganos. What a fucking surprise! Come on. This is a joke. This is an absolute joke. Sir, are you an attorney for the state? Are you doing the auction? Or I'm sorry.
I am representing the state, yes.
Okay. All right. May I ask why you were asking about my
Oh, yeah, because
license?
you asked us who we were, and I didn't know who, you hadn't identified yourself.
No, I said it was Michael Gill
Yeah,
Jr.
and then after that, you said this is mortgage specialist.
Yeah, and I work here. Yeah, so.
And I asked about whether you have a new company.
Yeah. Which is weird. You
And-
know that. I don't know why.
And you said that
What's up?
none of the state's business, whether you have
No. I didn't know. No, your business, sir. But I'm sorry. What's your name again?
my name is Philip Bradley.
Philip Bradley. All right. Thank you, Mr. Bradley.
But your new company would be public, right?
No.
It's not a public company?
No.
Is it registered in the state of New Hampshire?
It is.
Okay. Then it's a public company. I don't know why you're so secretive.
I'm not secretive. I just don't like you guys. You know my business, I suppose. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind just like telling Mary Ann and everybody to kind of put things away. Yeah, Melissa too, and Mike. If there's anything obvious, just, you know, put in the drawer, I suppose. All right, thank you, Bill.
Where's Dad?
Couldn't be here.
Huh?
Couldn't be here today.
Talking, we're talking to looking for him.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
want to talk to him.
All right.
Okay. We'll have a cup of coffee.
All right, fair enough. I'm doing the same thing, just so you know, sir. I'm still recording.
You guarantee,
Right.
you just guarantee. So did you, when you served, or rather, the deputy served, did he serve here, the residence, or did he serve the business? Because when the son came out, he's like, I had no idea. Oh, you, Michael.
I had no idea what. I didn't.
No, he served, he did the posting.
Okay.
Did you serve the business?
Yes.
Did the posting, right?
Yeah. The paper was left abode here. There was
Okay.
nobody here, and the business was.
Give him to the receptionist.
Hold on a second. I get the name, so I'll tell you.
But Michael, you're here. Like, if you didn't know, how are
Usually
you
we give
here?
the paperwork to the receptionist.
Oh, okay.
Receptionist at, I believe at the business, and we leave it.
William Bellevaux was served at the business.
Okay. All right.
His title was processor, the mortgage specialist.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Sorry, where do you work again, sir?
I work for the Attorney General's office.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
But this was all done according to the statutory process. So notice was posted. Notice was given at the addresses. I'm surprised that you didn't, when you say you didn't have any notice, that just seems.
No, I'm saying there was no postings. There was no listings. But it was my understanding you're supposed to have listings for 3 consecutive weeks in like a local paper.
No.
No.
But that was my understanding. So that's why I asked. But we'll have to look into it, I guess.
But you hadn't been paying the property tax. I mean, it didn't seem like
I
you
can't
were
speak to. I can't speak to that.
Didn't seem like you were
It's on my
interested
house, sir.
in keeping the property.
It's on my house.
You seem to be representing.
Oh, I'm just here because my dad couldn't be here, so I'm recording it for him to see who's here, what's said. I'm sure you'll probably see this eventually. Did you already do the auction?
No.
Did you already do it? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I
No,
just.
it's scheduled for noon time. Wait till noon time.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
See if we have any latecomers.
I think the gang's all here.
Okay.
Anybody who knows about it is here. So.
Like so I can get you.
Where is your father now?
Not sure.
He's gonna tell him that him and I want to have a cup of coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a warm winter jacket.
Rocket David 296 or 297? Your ACO is not available. Emerson Ave in the area of the Dodgers Road.
All right, we have the sheriff's sale of the property, 67 and 69 Conley Grove Road in Derry. This is the State of New Hampshire Department of Revenue versus Michael Gill. And do we have any bidders for the property?
Yes, we do.
And your name, sir?
Dick Anagnost.
And what is your bid, sir?
$250,000 for both.
250,000 for both. So one bid, 250 for both properties.
Yep. You
Thank
want
you.
that broken out?
No, I'll write it down. I'll break it down on it if I have to. Do we have any other bidders? All right, we'll keep it open for 5 more minutes and then we'll close the bidding.